Fight week, nothing new to you at this point in your career, but I mean, is there still like a special vibe or something different about, a title fight?
Yeah, every fight's the next special fight, Gosh, yeah, it's everyone's unique in itself, but yeah, there's certain similarities and things that you kind of get used to. But yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
How about this one in particular and putting you back to a place mentally, almost 8 years ago, right? I mean, have you during this fight week reflected on like who you were and what you were feeling during that time?
Yeah, mainly because y'all keep asking me about it. But no, of course I have. I've reflected a lot about it, and I am a completely different person. Obviously, I think it shows in my fights, but just sitting, on this side of things and just internally, I'm definitely spiritually, mentally, physically. I mean, obviously, I think over 8 years you should be getting better, like physically growing up and stuff. But spiritually, I feel like I'm just like totally transformed and really just in love with every moment and really blessed.
I think that's what I was going to ask you. Like when you talk about the growth between then and now, like what do you think is more important to your success? Like the tactics and the techniques and how you've grown as a martial artist, or the mentality and the confidence and the spirituality and how you've grown as a person?
Yeah, I mean, of course, tactics are very important. I think all of it is actually. Greg said this before. Like fighting. Everybody talks about fighting is 10% this 10% that, 90% this. It's like it's 100% everything. All of my being is put into it, every aspect. But I mean, yes, I think just the order and priority of things is what's most important, and that's your spiritual first, and then I think everything else kind of falls into place from there. But it's still a process, and getting to this point, all the checks have to be, what I'm saying, or all the boxes have to be checked, and I did that.
Have you been able to identify why you're so successful in rematches? Like, is there something that you glean from the first time around that helps you?
Yeah, that's a question I get a lot for this fight, and it's my ability to learn from my mistakes, be in the present moment, and be able to adapt and adjust. I think that's the qualities of a true champion, is being able to like reinvent yourself and be able to adjust to the different things that are thrown at you, because it's not always going to be the same thing, but you got to still be in control of yourself at all times, and sometimes get out of your comfort zone. So that's what I'm really good at.
Is this one any different at all? Because like some of your rematches obviously been back to back. Even Tecia was, 8 years, right? I mean, do all those lessons still apply here or not?
All of the different rematches?
No, it's all those things that you just mentioned for, like, does that, or is this such a unique scenario with so much time in between that maybe this is a different situation than the other ones?
Yeah, I think all of these fights are unique to themselves. I think that all of the learning lessons I take in with me, but I just apply it as needed. And some of the things I might not need, and then some of the things I might need and need to call upon. And sometimes there's improvisation. But I think ultimately, it's really about discipline, consistency, and sticking to the game plan for this fight. And that's gonna be the key to my success.
Last thing for me, I mean, win here. Have you thought about like what comes next and what you want to accomplish? I mean, do you look at names of the rest of the division? I mean, you've beaten all the big stars. Are you looking at other names, or is this more about something you want to do in totality of your own, legacy? What is it?
This for sure is, if there was ever a time just to be focused on this one, it's definitely this fight. Carla is no joke. She's very worthy and is a huge. Would be a huge accomplishment to be able to beat her and avenge this loss. So that's all that I'm thinking about. And I mean, obviously there's other girls in the division. There's always going to be. But yeah, she's the biggest test and the biggest challenge for me at the moment.
Rose over here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you and Carla essentially kicked off this party for the strawweight division and started this division in the UFC, 8 years ago at this point. So I wonder, 8 years later down the line, when you look around and you look at what 15 has become, what do you see?
Oh man, I see a great story. Like if you're a fan, you're in for a great ride. I think what I see is I'm clearly the best. Obviously, it's just a question of whether I'm the greatest in the division of all time, and I think this is a huge step towards that for me, and that's the big test. So I think I think everybody is, you know, when they think about the strawweights, they think about, you know, Joanna, I think, is probably the most, you know, just during her time, she came around at a time where the level of competition just wasn't even close to hers. So I think that's I guess what I'm looking to do is to try to set myself apart, because I'm clearly the best, but I think in the last fight maybe it was kind of close, and you know what I'm saying? So I've really been working my butt off to just make sure that I can, you know, set that distance between all of us.
Oh, so that's something that you're very acutely aware of like the idea of cementing a legacy and like wanting to be the greatest you know, 115er ever or something like that?
Yeah, I used to hate the term legacy, or when people would talk about it, or just other fighters and stuff. But I think I have a different perspective on what it really means, and it's something that is very intriguing. It's a very intriguing topic. Yeah, it definitely adds a little bit of an element to like motivation in my training, and like, wow, like look at where I've come, and like look at what all is available in front of me and possible. But really in actuality, it's like just focusing on the present and focusing on just performing my best. And then really it's like, let's see what happens. And when I do my best, y'all know I'm the best.
Does it make you proud to see how successful this division has been over the last 8 years and how much the fans have grown to love it and all of that?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool because I know, like, just, you know, my own bias. I love my story. I love my journey, and I wish I could, you know, open myself up and share it with y'all even more and kind of take y'all on the ride that I'm on, and just through my eyes. And I wish also vice versa, that I could be a fan and watch it, you know, watch myself fight. That would be super cool. But it's a huge, it's a really cool experience, I think, for everybody that's involved. And so really just grateful to be here.
Well, then last one from me. I mean, when you watch Carla in her recent fights, in what ways do you feel like she has evolved since that first fight? Or is she largely, in your opinion, the same, more or less, fighter that you fought 8 years ago?
I agree with what she said. I can't remember where it was, maybe a countdown or something, but she said she's a bigger, better version of herself, and I agree with that. I think she's, you know, her traps are bigger. She's got bigger muscles, and she's, I would imagine she's a lot stronger. Her technique, you know, got to be crisper, and I think a lot of girls maybe overlook her like blitz attacks and her boxing and stuff like that. So I just make sure that I look at all of those things and take that into account for my preparations. And I think she's just a bigger, better version of herself than she was 8 years ago. And yeah, I'm ready for that.
Hi, Rose, over here to your left. You're probably the leading mind on this, but when it comes to the matchup between Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Zhang Weili, you've fought them twice. How do you see that fight playing out?
Ooh, I think whoever's going to be the more technical in that fight is going to be the winner. I think the second, I don't think it's going to be such a slugfest as it was the first time. I'd have to really sit down and really think about it as far as like giving my prediction, but because they're both super technical. Joanna definitely has, I think, more of a tactical mindset, like overall in history. However, Weili is shown in her last fight that she has improved a lot as far as her knowledge, and I think she got a lot smarter after our experiences. So I think it really just comes down to who has a better game plan and who can kind of put their strategy together. So, but yeah, I'll have a better prediction when I get more time to think about that.
And Jessica Andrade had a really good return to the strawweight division. Did you catch her return, and what did you make of her submission win?
Yeah, that was quite amazing. I mean, Andrade is super unpredictable, super like her instincts in the cage is she's a wild animal, but she's super also very smart and unassumingly smart. So I would say. Yeah, that was a spectacular performance, and yeah, very happy for her.
Are you planning on celebrating the win with Justin Gaethje? Like, what are you guys going to do after the fight?
I never make plans after a fight. I usually just, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, so I just make sure that I'm focused on the fight. But I mean, yeah, that would be great. I know he's got that the house, the rental, so, you know, maybe we'll jump in the pool or something.
Right here to your left. I'm just curious, going off that with Justin, you guys have done this a few times now. Just tell us what it's been like doing this training camp with him, and are you happy that you're fighting before him this time?
I'm very happy that I'm fighting before him. I know he gets into some crazy fights. But yeah, I'm really excited for Gaethje. I think he's definitely taken his preparation to a whole nother level. I see he's always been super gifted and special, but he's really taken the preparation side of things to a whole nother level as far as just like being disciplined and being efficient and like cardio-wise, recovery, like everything is, I think, lining up for him. So even though I'm like a huge fan of Charles, but I see him coming out as a champion, and I'm really excited to be able to share that moment with him and defend my belt.
And I'm sure, keeping that belt right there is enough motivation for you to get out of bed every day, but you're human. I'm sure there's, some days where you're not totally feeling it. Does going into the gym and seeing someone like Justin with his mind for fighting and his energy, does that help you lift you up maybe on some of those days? Yeah,
he definitely has a unique perspective, and he's got some wisdom as far as I love his perspective on life, so that definitely helps. And yeah, I think just the biggest motivation for me is just making sure that I'm doing my best every day. Make sure that one day at a time, I'm putting forth the best and 100% of myself every day, and that's all I can do. What's up? Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.